What up, guys? Welcome to the channel. I'm back with another video. Listen, you see the title of today's video. Today I want to talk about the one thing that can get you fired from just about any job, and it doesn't matter how good of an employee you are. It doesn't matter how long you've been with that company. Doesn't matter about your work ethic, your attitude, any of that. This one thing can still get you fired from just about any job, and that one thing is theft. That's right, theft. Listen, I made a video a few days ago, and the title of that video was "Don't Take Your Job for Granted." And there was a comment left on that video that I want to share with you guys. Just in case you didn't watch that video, go watch it, but let me provide a little bit of context so you understand where this comment is coming from. So in that video, I talked about how I had to terminate a particular employee for stealing a cigarette lighter out of a convenience store that he was making a delivery to. So just real quick, I was a manager of a company, Krispy Kreme Donuts to be exact, and one of my delivery drivers at the time got caught stealing a cigarette lighter inside of a customer that he was making a delivery to. Customer caught him on surveillance, the whole 9 yards, right? In that video, I talked about how, that was actually one of my best employees. He had a really good work ethic, good attitude. He wasn't perfect, right? But under the circumstances, I had to do what I had to do. All right, let's go ahead and get into the comment. So this person says, if that was one of your favorite drivers and never caused you any problems, and he also owned up to it over a lighter, and you as a leader should have just said, and he spelled said wrong, but I know what he meant, don't go back to that store ever. Next time we gonna have problems. He said, I would have just went to the store, paid for the lighter, misspelled paid, by the way. Paid for the lighter myself and apologized for my best driver. No way I wouldn't at least try to fight for a person who was obviously a team player, who just did something dumb one time since working for me. I think you're weak and probably good he got away from you. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it, man. First off, it's a lot of ifs in his comment. So, this person has created a narrative based on a bunch of ifs. Now, I'm not going to get into the specifics about that particular employee, that I referenced in the original video, because I don't want to take away from the fact that I felt how I felt. He was a good employee, and I'll just leave it at that. So let me just say this, man. There are certain decisions that we make in life. Forget the job. That unfortunately, you don't get a second chance. You have to accept the consequences that comes with making that decision. In this case, this was a bad decision. Like I stated in the beginning of the video, when you're talking about theft, when you're working for a company, theft is just one of those things that companies don't tolerate. Again, it doesn't matter your tenure, how long you've been with the company. It doesn't matter how good your work ethic is. It doesn't matter if you've, been a team player. When it comes to theft, companies will terminate you if you commit that type of offense. It just is what it is. Anybody that's been in the workforce long enough, you guys already know that. But for some of you that may not be aware, that's just how it goes. I didn't make the rules. It is what it is. That doesn't mean you're a bad person, because good people can make bad decisions. But that doesn't take away from the fact that if you make that type of decision, you have to accept the consequences that come with it. This person said, if that would have been me, I would have went over and just paid for the lighter. You're missing the whole point. It's the principle behind what he did. Paying for the lighter, that doesn't mean anything. Again, there are just certain decisions, particularly bad decisions, that if you make those type of decisions, unfortunately, you don't get a second chance to right your wrong. You have to accept the consequences. Now, in regards to the employee that I had to terminate, yes, he lost his job behind stealing a cigarette lighter. That was a bad decision. That wasn't a mistake. I want to make sure we make that distinction. Even though this person in the comment didn't say mistake. He said, did something dumb. I want to make the distinction between a mistake and a bad decision. If you decide to commit an act that you know is wrong, that's not a mistake. That's a bad decision. You are fully aware of what you're doing before you actually commit the act. Sometimes in life, we make decisions that we can bounce back from, or sometimes we may get a second chance. But that's not always the case. Sometimes you make a bad decision and you just have to live with it. And that's what this was with this particular employee. It was unfortunate. It actually could have been worse. Yes, the employee lost his job over something that wasn't worth it. But think about this. This person actually could have got some charges pressed against him. The store manager could have easily called law enforcement and said, look, this Krispy Kreme driver was in my store this morning and stole a lighter. I have it on camera. I want to press charges. Law enforcement could have easily came to my shop and asked for that driver. He know what he looks like. He know for a fact that he committed the crime. And it could have been a lot worse than what it was. That's why it's so important to really try to do your best to make the best decision possible in every situation. That's hard to do, because at the end of the day, we're not perfect. We're human. And we're gonna make some bad decisions. You know, when it comes to the job, right, there's usually a termination process for a lot of offenses. For example, typically you may have a verbal warning. If you do it again, you may have some type of write-up or corrective action is what we call it. If you commit another offense, you may have a final warning, which is another corrective action. And then beyond that, it may be a automatic termination. That's just kind of the steps in the termination process. You know, I know at the company I work for now, we have a point system for certain incidents, even in certain accidents that you might have. Obviously, if it's not that bad, if it's something kind of minor or whatever the case may be, it's a point system. You don't automatically, get terminated depending on what it is. But if you get so many points, that can lead to a termination. It's very unlikely you're going to still have a job if you steal from your employer Or in this case, this was an employee, but he stole from a customer that we actually service. So it's the same type of scenario. You're not going to come back from that, because companies don't want to set that type of precedent. And from a business standpoint, it makes sense. So, you know, if you want to be mad at anybody in that type of situation, you got to be mad at yourself, because you made the decision to commit that act. You can't be mad at the company. You can't be mad at nobody. That was 100% self-inflicted. And that's what a lot of people don't want to accept. You got to take accountability for your actions in life, man. The best thing that you can do is not get into those type of situations to begin with. You got to use better judgment. Real quick, this is the last thing I'm going to say. You guys know, if you've been following the channel, I like to reference Jim Rohn a lot, because every now and then when I'm talking about a specific topic, I think about a story that he shared that I think relates to what I'm talking about. And talking about this particular topic is one of his stories came to mind, and I'm gonna share it with you real quick. And this is a story that he was basically talking about how good people can make bad decisions. So he's talking about this guy who lives in Los Angeles, has a beautiful family, he's married, has kids, great job, really good in the community, just an all-around great citizen, right? He said he's living in Los Angeles, and one day he's late for an appointment, and he gets in his car and he's just pushing it. And he comes to this intersection and the light turns red. And a little voice in his head says, "Go ahead, you can make it." And he said, now he's dead. Nice guy, but he's dead. Because in a split second of time, he made a careless decision. He said, so you don't have to go off to some foreign country and die in some foreign war to be dead. All you have to do is make a careless decision or a foolish decision at the wrong time. And he goes on to say, we're all tempted. And when I heard that, I thought to myself, man, that's so true. We all experience some type of temptations throughout the course of a day, throughout the course of our lives. We're all faced with some sort of temptation. Sometimes we let the temptation get the best of us. And sometimes we listen to the positive voice in our heads that says, you better not do that. That's a bad idea. Right? And temptations can come in so many different forms. Think about it. If you're trying to lose weight and you go to the grocery store and you start to walk down the ice cream aisle and you see all this ice cream, and in your mind it's like, man, I really want to get some of that ice cream. But you know you're trying to lose weight, and then the temptation, the little voice in your head said, go ahead and get some ice cream, you'll be good. You just gotta, do a little bit more exercise, and tomorrow you can go ahead and get that ice cream. And you get the ice cream. Or maybe you're in a relationship and you see an attractive person, and a little voice in your head said, you know what, man, this person is very attractive. Let me start flirting with this person. And then one thing leads to another. And a little voice in your head said, go ahead, you're not going to get caught. Or you working for a bank as a bank teller, and you deal with money all day, and you have a little voice in your head said, you know your mortgage due and you don't have enough money to pay it. Why don't you take some of this money? You're not going to get caught. The temptations. We're all tempted. Driving on the highway, the speed limit. The speed limit says 70 miles per hour. You driving 80, 90 miles an hour. You're not gonna get caught. Go ahead, keep going. The temptations, we're all faced with it every day. The question is, do you have the discipline to refrain from falling into the temptation? Are you able to listen to that positive side of your mind that says you shouldn't do that? Don't do it. Or do you give in? Listen, man, that's all I got for you guys for today. Let me know what you think about this video. Remember, if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. If you like this video, like the video, hit the thumbs up for me. And until the next one, I'll catch you guys later, man. Y'all take care. Peace.